So you open a new tab, then another. Then there is a YouTube tutorial that seems exactly made for the game you want to make. Then a course on game design theory. Then another one about how to pixel art. Or maybe I could go 3D. What about Blender? Sounds familiar? Good. Because this is how I felt when I started game developing. But also when I decided to use Blender, Android Studio, and also now with making videos. It's always the same story, in every field. I really want to learn everything, but then I do nothing. So today I wanted to figure out exactly what is wrong with my brain. And yes, yours probably too. So I started doing some research because, well, I didn't want to feel like that again. I want to change. I want to know the reasons behind this, and I'm sure you want to. Here is the thing nobody tells you when you start learning something. Watching a tutorial feels like doing the thing. Reading about game design feels like designing a game. Bookmarking that tutorial on YouTube feels like you are already halfway through it. So your brain is not lazy. It is actually doing something very specific here. And it is doing it on purpose. But we will get to that in a second. First, let me paint you a picture. Let's say we decide we want to make a game. Great. So we go on YouTube and we search how to make a game. Perfect start. Then the algorithm, that beautiful monster, shows you a video about Unity versus Godot or Unreal Engine. You click it, obviously. Then there's another one about whether you should even use an engine at all. Then one about game design fundamentals. Then one about how a solo dev made $1 million with a game. So basically, 3 hours later, you have learned a lot. You have also made nothing. This is one of the most comfortable traps a human brain can fall into, because it feels like productive. It feels like you are moving forward. But you are not building anything. You are just standing on the starting line, warming up forever. And that's how I feel all the time. So you have probably heard that dopamine is the pleasure chemical. It turns out it is technically wrong, and the real answer is way more useful to us. Neuroscientist Kent Berridge, in research that started gaining attention in the 90s, and in the 2000s, made a distinction that changed how we understand motivation. Dopamine is not really about pleasure, it is about anticipation. It is the feeling you get right before the reward, not during it. Basically, this is why opening a new tutorial gives us a tiny hit of energy. And this is why actually sitting down to build our game, the thing where the reward is weeks away and the feedback is often just a red error message, feels so much harder. Learning gives you a dopamine hit every few minutes. A new concept, a new insight, a moment of, oh, that makes sense. Making something gives you dopamine much less often, and only after a lot of friction. So our brain, being a dopamine chasing machine, quietly prefers learning over doing. Not because we are weak or unmotivated, but because learning is a dopamine vending machine and making things is more like a dopamine slot machine that sometimes does not pay out for days. I'm not a psychologist. I had to learn that for this video. Wow, incredible. And here is where it connects to game dev specifically. Think about it. Our entire world is made of games designed around this exact loop. Variable rewards, progress bars, unlockable content. We built these systems to hook players, and then we go and get hooked by the same mechanism when we sit down to learn how to build them. There is something almost poetic about that, and also slightly tragic. There's a name for what happens to a lot of indie developers early on. It is called tutorial hell. And if you have been in it, you know exactly what it feels like. Tutorial hell is when you follow a tutorial, you finish it, it works, and then you close the project because it does not feel like yours. So you find another tutorial and another, and you keep building other people's ideas and learning nothing you can actually use on your own. But every new tutorial you start is a new open loop, and your brain starts to feel busy just from holding all those loops open, even if none of them ever close. So we get stuck in the learning loop because we probably are not really trying to learn. We are trying to feel like a certain kind of person, like someone who knows their stuff, like a game developer. So, okay, we have established that our brain is dopamine hungry, curiosity addicted, loop collecting, and slightly terrified of actually making things. So what are we going to do about it? Basically, we need to change what gives us the reward. So it seems that the basic idea is that vague goals fail and specific situation-based plans work. I want to make a game is a vague goal. Every day at 7 p.m. I open Unity and I work on one thing for 25 minutes, even if that thing is just moving a character across the screen, is an implementation intention. The 25-minute part matters, by the way. This is basically the Pomodoro technique. Short, focused blocks with a defined point. Your brain can commit to 25 minutes. It cannot commit to becoming a game developer. The other thing that helps is drastically lowering the stakes of what you make. The indie game dev community has figured this out with game jams. They give you 48 to 72 hours to make a complete game. The constraint is the point. You do not have time to learn everything first. You have to make something fast and ship it. And something weird happens when you do that. You start to trust yourself. The dopamine comes from making, not just from learning. So basically, what I'm saying is that we are never going to feel ready. And the solution is not to stop learning. Learning is good, but learning without a deadline and without a specific small thing you are building is just procrastination. That's how I basically started with YouTube. I just picked one indie game and started recording. And believe me, everything was bad in that video. But hey, at least I started. So let's pick one tiny thing and make the worst possible version of that. Now, let me know in the comments what you think. I want to know what you are procrastinating on. Be specific. Maybe that is the accountability you need. And like always, thanks for watching.